So, David, tell us a little bit about this editorial. You're actually focusing on Brexit. You're going political.
Doing everything in my power not to be political, right?
Yeah.
But to give a biblical perspective.
Yeah.
This week's Messenger has the title, Who's in Control? I think the place where I'd like to start
Sure.
is I brought along a magazine, a historic magazine called Signs of the Times.
Yeah.
It was published by Signs of the Times in the United States, but written by, or edited, I should say, by a former Stanmore Press editor, Arthur Maxwell, formerly of this parish in Watford. And on July 2nd, 1940, and of course that was the beginning of the Second World War, the war had just been going a few months, he felt the need to somehow give that a biblical perspective. And of course on the front cover you've got a picture of Nebuchadnezzar's statue that he saw in his dream that Daniel interpreted. And Maxwell took a very vivid and dangerous position because the brethren of the church at that time were quite worried about his position. He was very forthright. I know that this war, the Second World War, will not, we will win it, and Hitler will not win it because of Bible prophecy and what it says about the nations of Europe never uniting to each other. And I just want to read this bit, how forthright he was.
Okay.
And it says this: "We're going to say exactly what we've said in the past. We refuse to retract one jot or one tittle about what Scripture says. We believe that the prophecy in question is not only the most remarkable and the most significant to be found in all the Scriptures, but that it is absolutely authentic and reliable. Furthermore, we believe its interpretation will never be overthrown by any sequence of events that may occur." And just a couple of more lines. "This prophecy is the only one in the Bible to which the two words certain and sure are attached." As I shared my editorial, was I embarrassed? Was I nervous? Did I feel disloyal? Because I haven't been as forthright as Maxwell. But I still believe very clearly that God's in control.
So, in light of Maxwell's article, I mean, during that particular time with Hitler was looking for world supremacy, at least European supremacy, that would really fulfill or counteract the arguments in Daniel 2. Are things not different now with the Brexit situation because everyone's divided in their own territories anyway? So why is this so important? Why have you focused on Brexit now and questioning who is in control?
Sure. Hitler was forcing people to come together. He was going to be their ruler. He was going to wipe out certain ethnicities and push them out. And he did physically wipe out the Jews and attempted it through the Holocaust. Brexit today is very different. Whatever we feel about the EU, it is a democratic institution. And of course, I'm not negating the reality that they have tried to bring Europe together, understandably, after the horrors of the Second World War. But it seems right now that Europe is in transition. There is evidence that the countries of Europe can't stay together politically. They're just so different. And so in one sense, what I'm trying to say in the editorial, Brexit is not so much a fulfillment of prophecy, and I use that word deliberately, fulfillment, but it is an affirmation of the continuing philosophy of history and the story of Daniel and the dream and what it actually represented, because it shows that Europe is on a trajectory not of being united, but of ever staying apart.
And obviously we can see that we've had years of this whole Brexit debate, and we're not going to obviously go into whether it's best to remain or to leave, but we do see that these are the ramblings that take place when there are efforts to unite everything together in Europe. There are always going to be countries that are wanting to come out or to come in. So there is that fragmentation that's taking place. So with regards to this Daniel 2 prophecy, the 10 toes, as it were, the divided nations of Europe, how much can we read into the actual specifics of this prophecy in relation to the article that you read?
Sure. So we need to be careful we always need to be careful about reading into Scripture. It's what Scripture shares with us, and we're trying to apply prophecy to history. It's very difficult when you're in the middle of history to actually be sure that this is what the prophet saw. So we'll know at some time in the future, perhaps, what this really meant at this time. But I want to say this. My tension with the Brexit story and in the context of prophecy was that I became very uncomfortable with it. Surely, when Christians see prophecy fulfilled, their spirits soar. So, for example, when Jesus said in Matthew 19, and this gospel of the kingdom shall be spread in all the world, and then the end shall come, and we see people all over the world accepting Christ, our spirits soar. But this time, when you see something in Europe going on that you've heard about for a long, long time, but it's not warming your heart, it's actually making you feel quite low, quite sad, because in these times, right now, it's similar to the 1930s, as I show in the editorial. The rise of nationalism, the rise of the other people are the problem. And so even though I recognize it as a signal along the way, there's no way I can be excited or thrilled about it. These are serious times.
Well, I guess that when you look at the whole of Daniel 2 prophecy, that it doesn't just end with the toes being divided. There is something else that comes that does make us excited.
Should not our focus be on the stone?
Absolutely.
The stone that's coming, that represents Christ's kingdom. A figure of Scripture, Christ the cornerstone, who's the backbone of our faith, who's the one in whom we can trust, who is going to sort out these problems, who is the fulfillment of all history. And so whatever times we're going through now and however we understand them, rather than focus on Brexit, good or bad, in the end, it's the stone.
Absolutely.
That's coming to take over and crush the kingdom of this world, not because of some malice, but just to sort out the mess we're in.
Yes. Well, David, we can definitely see that what's happening today is the signs that soon this stone will come, and God's kingdom will be established, a kingdom that will never be divided or destroyed. So we look forward to the fulfillment of the entire prophecy when it happens.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.